Hi everyone. So I want to discuss a bug with Adobe Animate where the audio gets desynced by about one part per thousand. And this is a bug that has afflicted me since about 2008 when this program was called Macromedia Flash 8. And I've always had a workaround that's felt very messy and not very elegant. So let me show you what I mean. First off, let's create an audio file and I'm going to create a rhythm track. So basically a click every second exactly. And the reason I want to do this is because it'll make it very clear and easy to see when desync happens. So I'm setting the tempo to 60 beats per minute. So that's exactly one click every second. Exactly. Like there's no fudging that at all. And I'm going to create 31 bars so that we have just about 2 minutes of clicking. So you can see this last like big click here is at 2 minutes down to like the millisecond, right? Okay, I think you believe that. So let's take a listen just to hear what it sounds like, although it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to go back to zero, or let's go back to 0 seconds. Okay, you get the idea. So I'm going to export this. And like I showed you, it's like every single click is exactly at 1 second, exactly at 59 seconds. Like there's just no debating it. And that's this is just an example. So let me put this. I'll put it in my time travel video. Click track.wave. So I Audacity is representing the file correctly. I'm pretty confident about that. So now let's create a new file in Animate. Let's say we want to create a visual to go along with that audio file. So I'm going to create it, and one thing to note is it claims the frame rate is exactly 30, like 30.0. We're not talking about 29.97. I know like a lot of old TV networks were playing at 29.97, but this is 30 and Animate admits that it's 30. So, okay, I don't know why the timeline is a separate window and why it's so big. But anyway, let's import the audio file. Oh, this stuff happens. I don't know. I forgot about this. Okay, yeah, like there's something weird going on with my like that's another bug uh where the drop down does not match where my mouse is and I can't get this. So I'm gonna have to drag it to my other window. But trust me, I'm just importing the audio file. Import to library. And yeah, I wish I could show this, but it literally is that weird bug where the drop down menu doesn't match up with where my cursor is. So anyway, we're back. And if you check out my library, okay, I have to move the thing around. Here's a clicktrack.wave, right? And if we drag it into this like file or this frame, can you see that? This frame now contains the click track, and we have to add more frames to see the more clicking. But you can visually see, and let's see if I can make this bigger, that there's a click right here at exactly 1 second. And it shows up a little later, but like that's because of this like, maybe off by one errors. The first frame is labeled as 1. In my opinion, the first frame should be listed as 0 because then the even multiples will be like 0, 30, 60, 90, not 1, 31, 61, 91. That's just my opinion, but that's a debate for another time. Let's see if I can make the frames look bigger. Well, okay, I think that's enough. Like, you can see that. Okay, so I'm just going to. So if we play this, like, let me add more frames, and you can listen to the audio here. And then, like, let's say you wanted to animate, like, maybe a character's face changing every time there's a click. So, like, smile. And then right at the click, every time he hears a click, he changes expression. So now he's, like, sad. And then at exactly 2 seconds, okay, whether it's 30 or 60 is kind of, like, on the fence. But I'll be showing you that the bug is by more than one frame. So he goes from sad to angry. So you'll be able to listen. Yeah, so you can see he's like changing exactly the click, and that's important to make it feel synchronized. But now as I extend more frames, what you'll notice is that the audio shifts like earlier by about one part per thousand. So it's not super noticeable at 20 seconds, but when I would make like flash animations, you would start to notice it about 30 seconds and about 60 seconds. So look at this. This is at 59 seconds in. So 59. Okay, well, let's make an even number just to really demonstrate the point. 60 seconds at 30 frames per second should be 1,800 on the dot. But because the first frame is frame 1, it's really 1,801. So the click right at 60 seconds should be here. but it's actually playing here at 1798, 3 frames earlier. And that might not seem like a big difference, but if you animate um, by following the audio, which is what most people do, you'll create a keyframe at 1798 because that's where you see the peak. You do this, and then you like create your smile or whatever, or maybe he's shocked. Let's make him shocked, and like you were unaware that what you were animating on is actually not what the audio file itself like natively would tell you to do. Um, so then what happens is when you okay, so like if you play this, it'll look like it's exactly correct. If you play it, like it looks like the face will change it right on the downbeat of the sound, which is just fine. But when you export the MP4 file, like the video will have it baked in that the like the visual changes at 59.94 seconds or whatever this happens to be, and it will like the Premiere file will show that, but then like the audio file, as we saw in Audacity itself, is actually exactly on 60 seconds. So there will be a misalignment, and 2 frames after 60 seconds doesn't seem like a lot, but if you keep extending, eventually it'll get to a point where it's like unacceptably out of sync. So let me just show you the extent of it. So if we go to 2 minutes, then it'll be off by about, so okay, I said 1 part per thousand. I haven't calculated what the exact ratio is, but you can see that at 3,600 frames, the downbeat should be at 3,601. It's actually at 3,596. So it drifted 5 frames earlier in 3,600 frames. So it's actually a little worse. It's about 1 part per 700 or 1 part per 800. But the thing is, like, it should be exact. Now, I have a few theories about why this is happening. But first, let me start an export of this file so that like we can demonstrate it in the actual video making process. So let me like, okay, so the click is right here. So right at 100, wait, let's go to 120 just to make this even again. So the click looks like it's at 3596. So I'll just say click. And this is supposed to be at 2 minutes. And then another one right here. This is 201. So whenever I actually end up doing like an actual video, what ends up happening is I have to like I have the finished animation and I don't want to tinker with it because I put a lot of work into it. But also the audio shouldn't be tinkered with because if you like cut out a small bit of audio, you will hear a small click sound, or like there will be a slight like kind of weird quirk, like little rift in time that you'll hear in the audio, especially if someone's talking at that moment, because audio is just higher fidelity than animation. So I do not want to touch the audio at all either. So what I end up doing, and by the way, I'll render this out now. Let's just call this like, hold on, let me drag this away, because I just don't want to show you all my files. What I end up doing is I end up finding frames in my animation where nothing moves, and then I will drop one of those frames. Like every 30 seconds, I find one frame to drop, which means that like the audio isn't, or the animation isn't an exact copy of what I put in Animate. There are moments where like something was meant to hold for 4 frames, but then I edit it so it only holds for 3. And that's to like bring it back in alignment. It's kind of like a leap year, or like every 4 years we have a leap day, to like make it back in alignment with the seasons. This is kind of similar to that. But the point is I shouldn't have to do that. Like I already animated it in sync from the get-go. So I should be good, but I'm not. So hold on, okay, I'm gonna save this as like click demonstration. So yeah, you can't see this because it's, well, okay, I'll just show it to you here. So I'm saving this into the time travel 4 folder. I'm gonna call it click demonstration. That's the FLA. So now let's export it, and the thing is, the dropdown will be out of sync again. Yep. Oh my god. Okay, so I have to drag it into my other monitor. This is so dumb. Oh, here it is. Okay, so we're just exporting it like normal, and nothing crazy is happening. Wait, okay. I have to change the destination of this as well. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna save it as like, let's just get it going. And then, okay, things are showing up on my other monitor that you can't see. So yeah, it's exporting, as you can see, like it's 49%. Obviously, like nothing happens on screen besides like those faces moving around on the second, but there's only like 6 keyframes, so there's not much to actually render. So this should happen pretty fast. But I have a few theories why this is happening. So like I said, it's about one drift per 800. So one part per 800. And I think it has to do with the issue with how Adobe Animate is reading the audio files. Because audio files are like 44,100 samples per second. And there could be an issue, like if it accidentally reads the wrong sample rate, it would switch. Or like it would like scale up or down by the wrong amount. Like if you misread a 44,100 hertz file as 4,800 hertz, it will be 10% faster, which is bad. But that's also like bad by such a large amount. You will obviously notice it and fix it because that's a 10% difference. This is only a 0.1% issue. So here's my theory. So if you take the 44,100 and divide it by 30, this is how many samples appear per frame, right? Because it's 30 frames per second. And so maybe what's happening, as you can see, it's only 1,400. What's happening is for every frame that it's like reading, it's for some reason like dropping the last sample or something before it reads the next frame. And like that would make it drift by about one part. Well, actually, that's a bit bigger than the actual drift rate. Anyway, let's go to Adobe Animate, or let's go to Premiere now. Oh, I forgot. That's my spider video that I recently made. Yeah. I get a little like anxious that I'm showing something that I don't want to show, but I think it should be fine. So let's go to here and oh wait, no, that I don't want to show these things. I should get like a computer that has like that's just for like a separate machine for this kind of stuff. Okay, let's create a new project. Okay, I hate how many clicks you have to do to create a new Premiere thing. I just want to click it and make it. Okay, so let's just call this click demonstration. Okay, there's a file there. I don't care. Oh, that's a folder. Never mind. Yeah, see, like, why do I select the folder to like create the Premiere file, but not actually name the folder itself? That's not. I don't understand that. Like, I put the actual file name up here. No other program does that. In every other program, you actually name the folder in the File Explorer. So let's create it. Okay. So we're gonna drag in everything that we just talked about. So the click track, which is accurate because the audio file has no weirdness to it. So again, like in Adobe, no, sorry, in Audacity, the clicks are exactly on the second. There's no doubt about it. It is 1 minute exactly. You know, we're down to like hundredths of a second. It's accurate. If we go into Premiere, we'll see the same thing. So we zoom in to like, oh my god, there's a lot of finicking. Oh my god, this is... By the way, I zoomed my monitor way closer than I normally have it because I wanted like the UI to look decently sized when I demonstrate stuff to you. So that's kind of why I look unfamiliar with like how things are going. Okay, so this is at exactly 1 minute. Oh, wait. It drifts here too? Wait. Oh, what is... Sorry, okay. So what's going on? It's like the time stamp is going from 59:29 to 1 minute 02. I think if we go to sequence settings, oh yeah, see the frame rate claims it's 29.97, but it's actually 30. So this is not Premiere's fault because Premiere, I just had the settings wrong. So let's... can I make this... Okay, I have to drag this to the other screen again. This is so dumb. Okay, so now it's correct. Okay. By the way, the ratio of 29.97 to 30 is also about 1 part per 1,000, so that's very suspicious. But yeah, like you can see that at exactly 1 minute, at 30 frames per second, the click lands exactly on the frame. Like there's no doubt about it. And this is true at 2 minutes as well. So Premiere is not to blame. Audacity is not to blame. The audio file is exactly as you expect it would be. Okay, so look at that. Like 2 minutes is exactly on the moment. You get it. Okay, so let's bring in the animation that it exported. So now here's the thing. The export also is not to blame which you might be confused by. Here's the MP4, the animation that I made. The animation is also not to blame because I specifically animated it so the face would change on those like non-round frame numbers. Oh, you can even see the drift in the MP4 file itself. Like, so the MP4 file is in blue and the actual true WAV file is in green. You can see that it's drifted by, well, only one frame in this example, which is less than... Wait, there's two types of drifting happening. So, okay. I'm doing a kind of experimentation on the fly here. If we look at this, as we expected, the face goes to its 2-minute thing at 1:59:25, which makes sense because if we go in the actual animate, where's animate? Oh, animate's here. Oh my god. If we go into the actual animate file, it switched to 2 minutes at like 36:26, which corresponds to 1:59:25 because it's off by one, you know. So that, like, if you were to export this animation as a frame sequence and literally like assemble the frames manually one by one, you would get the same result because this is 1:59:28. Like, I literally animate 1:59:25. I animated it correctly and it's showing up correctly visually. The issue is the audio. So yeah, there's like, what I mean by there's two types of drifting is the green is the true wave. The wave file that's baked into the MP4 has drifted forward by about less than one frame in 2 minutes, which is 1 part per 6,000. So I don't know, closer to 1 part in 7,000 because it hasn't drifted by a full frame. But then there's the more significant drift of how the wave file is read in Adobe Animate itself, and you can hear it looks in sync when you animate it because, yeah, it puts it at 36:26. When you're an animator and you receive this audio file, you will have no idea that it's already desynced because most audio files are not as like clean cut as like a click track every second. When you see that this like click lands at 36:26, you will think that is where it actually is in the audio file, even though it's supposed to be up here, 5 frames later. So, I don't know why all this drifting is happening. So yeah, what I would do, and you can let me actually demonstrate, or let me show you some files from 2016 where I would try to fix this. So if I go to my old backup from like ages ago. So this is my college backup from like 2016, and I don't want to show you all my files, obviously. So let's go to here. This is my TWOW folder. Can you still see all this? Yeah, you can see all this. So this is my TWOW folder. And TWOW were like flash animations that were about 3 to 6 minutes long. So you get the same thing about like, wait, hold on. Is this the right? Is this gonna have FLAs? This one might not have FLAs. Really? Where are the FLAs? Okay, wait. Okay, I'm gonna find the FLAs for on my own for a sec because they don't seem to be here. Oh, here we go. Here, okay. This is TWOW 9B, which I created on April 7th, 2016. And you can see these FLA files. So let's dive into the first one. And I haven't opened these files in like 9 years. So yeah, don't worry about that. Adobe Animate has obviously updated, so it's like doing all these weird things. Okay, so we have the animation stuff here. And it's like very rudimentary lip syncing, or no lip syncing at all. And also the font it doesn't have, so it looks different. So, like there's certain moments that happen that line up with what I'm saying. But the actual specifics don't matter. And in Animate, it'll look all fine. But let me open the Vegas file. Actually, the Vegas file is the most important. So this is the Vegas file, again, created on April 8th, 2016, right at midnight. So actually, this was like late into the night. So if I open this, I do have Vegas. What you'll see that I did is that like every time it drifts too out of sync, which is about every 30 seconds, I will drop a frame when nothing is moving. And in these animations, that's very easy because there's not much actual like movement. Like most frames, like 95% of frames look the same as the frame before. So if I drop them, nothing looks amiss. Why is Vegas not opening? Open. I have Vegas, so what's going on? Okay, okay, it's opening, it's opening. Okay, so I guess gotta let it go. Um, so I know I've been talking a lot about this issue. Why does it matter? Well, I think if I wasn't like lazy or something, the idea of like dropping a frame every 30 seconds doesn't sound too much of a workload. Compared to the time of actual animation, it's not that bad. But I think one, from an artistic level, it feels a little messy or like not true to your vision if you don't know if your animation is going to line up perfectly, and you also don't know again if you have like certain things that hold, like certain visuals that hold every 4 frames evenly, for some of them to be cut down to 3 frames. uh ignore everything. I removed some frame sequences from my hard drive and turned them into video files, so I wouldn't have like 1 million files. Okay, so I opened it multiple times. Okay, so it's opening again. I clicked it too many times. Okay, so anyway, what we're gonna look at here, and this is Vegas, so this is the other editing software I used to use from 2012 to 2020. Oh my god, stop opening more of them. Okay. Oh my god, they keep opening. Okay, bye. Okay, we're good. Okay, so it actually didn't have. I'm trying to find an example of like the desync, me being forced to like. Oh well, you can see in the audio actually. So I actually had 2 different techniques for it to happen. So there are 2 different techniques to fix the desync. Um, so in example one, you can see I have 12.9b1 in the visual, like this video on the upper level is the video, and then the audio is 12.9b, the audio, and you can see that like the video is 2.5 minutes long. So it should just like track with the audio exactly, like if you just watch it.
I really didn't think that was even
Wait,
remotely possible. With that being said, the winner of 12.9 won with 77.46%.
Oh, nostalgia.
Was it you? Psst, it probably wasn't you. I really didn't.
Okay, so what you'll notice is like a minute in, or a little over a minute. How do I zoom in? I forgot all the keybind controls. Oh, here we go. A minute in, I broke the audio file to like add some, or either add some silence or remove some silence. I'm not quite sure which way it would go, but like you can hear I say psst, where I start saying psst.
Psst, it probably wasn't you. Psst, it probably was.
So if I cut this out, here's what the actual audio file originally looked like.
You? Psst, it probably wasn't you. You? Psst.
You can see that the visual changes before the audio because of the desync. So can you see it? Oh yeah. So the psst, the visual shows up at 129.18, but the audio doesn't come in until 129.22. Like you can see that's when like the actual waveform expands to show the psst. So what I did, essentially is cut it here, and I don't know what the keybind controls are because I haven't used Vegas in a while. It's not Control K. I don't know what it is. I'll have to figure it out. But like I would break it, I would split it, I would like shorten this clip by a bit and like, or just shift it forward. Oh yeah, like that. So like if I undo all that and go back to what it was, you can see that's what happened. So now the psst, instead of coming at 129.22, does come in at 129.18 to fix the issue. So you either remove audio or you add visual. So actually I got it the wrong way around. Like with the animation, you have to find frames where nothing is moving and then duplicate those frames. But yeah, the reason this is bad is like one from the artistic level. If you have like, let's say you have a light, like a green alert light that blinks every 3 frames. It goes like on, off, 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 on, off, off, off. It'll have a very regular motion, but then if you have to duplicate frames, there'll be one moment where it'll go on, off, 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 on, off, off. It'll like stay for a little longer, and that might not seem like a big deal, but certain animations really depend on you having the right number of frames correctly. Like if there's like a collision where you want the punch to last for exactly 2 frames or something. So it just seems a little disheartening that you have to worry about that. Or like if you change the audio again, like the rhythm of the audio will feel different. Like if someone is like taking a step every like, half second, they're like step, 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 step. And then I have to do a cut like that, then there will be a step that'll feel like it happened too soon. It's like step, 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 step. It'll just feel like it trips you up. The second reason I think this is bad. Well, okay, yeah, that was the artistic reason. The second reason is just like from a workflow efficiency point of view. Um, every little difficulty just makes videos harder to make. And I know I'm sounding super lazy by saying like, oh, I can't offer even just like 30 seconds to do this small like fix. Um, but like when I slog through an animation and I'm like so exhausted, I want to just be able to like plop that whole thing into Vegas or into Premiere and know that what I plopped is set to go. I don't need to worry about it anymore. So the fact that like there's a second stage of like editing and fixing and like tweaking makes it like just a little bit more tiring to like do this. Like I want my animations when I say they are done in Animate to just be done, you know? I think that that is important to say. And I think that like overall, you know, everyone already like dislikes Adobe because of the subscription payment cost and all that. So everyone's gonna be in the comments being like, "Oh, what do we expect? We don't expect any better from Adobe." And I agree with all of that, but I also think that like this is a particular issue which I feel like there must be a simple way to change it. Like if there was just even a setting in Adobe, yeah, again everything's like offset. If there's just a setting that said make the audio 0.1% slower or like shift it by some amount, do some audio syncing, then I would just turn that on and have it shift correctly. But that doesn't exist. Like it feels like super easy to add. What is what I'm saying.
Score was 59.9.
Um, And then the thing is, like, I don't know if people have ever talked about this. So if I search like audio, okay, Adobe Animate. By the way, I hate how the name is Animate because it means it's not very Googleable. Audio desync from timeline. There is some discussion about this, but it doesn't seem to ever be. Okay. Yeah, this is actually the exact thing. I have an 8 minute long animation, and that's actually like crazy long because 8 minutes is 480 seconds, and if you multiply that by the what or divide that by the one part in 750 desync, you will desync by about 0.6 seconds. Like that is enough by like when because I'm saying each word or syllable about every 0.15 seconds, so this is shifting by about 6 syllables, maybe like 4 or 5. It doesn't matter. It's just unacceptable. So you can see if I export a video blank, the video's blank. I can hear audio. If I use the media encoder, how do I fix this? I don't get my move file black. Yeah, so the audio gets out of sync as the animation goes by, so after 3 to 4 minutes you can notice it a lot. That makes sense because at about 3 to 4 minutes you'll desync by about 0.3 seconds. But I don't think this is an issue with the move file format. I really think it is an issue with how the file is displayed in Animate, because I've already demonstrated that with like everything with Audacity and all that. Like you've already seen it. But I guess what I was gonna say is like I don't think that there's enough discussion about this. Like this, like literally the second Google result is about a different issue, I think. And the other point I was going to make is that among my friends who are animators, like other people who have animated for years and years, we all have like in our own personal lives discovered this independently and found workarounds of like dropping frame or adding duplicate frames or dropping audio. And like this is kind of silly to me that we all are finding solutions to a stupid problem that shouldn't exist. And like if it was just like if it was an issue that only afflicted me, then I wouldn't really feel so bad that it never got fixed. But the fact that like it afflicts so many other animators and like no one talks about it, so it never gets fixed, is okay. This probably says the same thing. Yeah. Okay. Look at this. I made a scene in 3D software and I'm going to animate over the top of it. I recently watched a Domix video in which he states he changes the frames per second to 23.965 to avoid audio desync. Can someone please explain to me why this happens if I need to do it? Well, like, there is some talk about it. And, like, but this is a post with 2 upvotes. It's, like, incredibly underground. And the other thing is, like, we as the animators have to, like, do this, like, scientific figuring out what this number is in, like, this very nebulous way. It's like, is it 23.976 or is it 23.98 or 23.965? It's like these like fuzzy numbers as if we're like measuring the brightness of the sun, which is like a scientific like blurry nebulous thing, when it is like a software that should be exact. Like, you know, Audacity is able to show us the click at exactly 1 minute. Premiere is able to show us the click at exactly 1 minute. There's no reason that we should let Adobe Animate not be exact with this. Like literally when you read like audio files, it is just 44,100 samples per second exactly. There's no like ambiguity to that. So I'm just like I'm not letting them slide. Like the fact that like they're letting the audio slide, I don't think that should slide. So yeah, this is all to say like I hope there is a fix someday, but if Adobe Animate does not fix this, and I don't think they will because Adobe is a huge company and there's no way this singular video will ever get to them if the last 16 years haven't. The other fix is what, Domix does, which is to change the frame rate of the animate file to make it line up, but it's a nebulous number, but we can do some experimentation and I've never actually found the exact value. But I'm going to do it now because I think I want to learn something too. So here we are in Adobe Animate, and if we set the frame rate even higher, we can get more accurate readings. So let's set the frame rate to 60. That's twice as precise. And then I don't, why is the audio not, oh, okay, so now, yeah, like this is, yeah, now there's only a click every 60 frames. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go really far forward to 2 minutes again. And actually we can make the click track twice as long. So that'll make it 4 times as precise now. Undo. Generate rhythm track. Let's do it for 61. Okay, move this back to the beginning. So this is 4 minutes long. Let's export. Let's just replace the file because then I don't have to do anything crazy. Oh, no, not that one. This one, click track. Okay, replace. We go here, update. Okay, there. So now it's twice as long. So now I'm going to go out to 4 minutes. And I know some animators will be like, wow, 4 minutes, one animate file? I would never animate so much in one file. There are other reasons why you wouldn't want to do that. Like maybe if your file gets corrupted, or maybe you're someone who likes to like export your, like you export your like video files and you send them to your editor and you want to send them to them in chunks so they can edit as you animate. Like there's reasons to not put all your eggs in one basket. But that all being said, there's no reason Adobe Animate shouldn't be able to handle a file this large because again, Premiere can handle it. Audacity can handle it. And yes, like Audacity is just dealing with the audio, which is a much smaller file size, but Premiere is dealing with a much bigger file size because, Premiere is like loading other video files, it's like rendering them all to the screen at once, and it handles it just fine. Like, or I mean, handles it in the sense that like it doesn't desync. It could crash, which is another issue, but we're talking just about like how it gets displayed. And so, yeah. Anyway, so the final big click happens. Okay. So this is 3 seconds after, because remember, like, the way Audacity created the track, there's the click at 4 minutes, and then there's, like, 3 clicks after it. And by the way, let's just take a listen. Yeah, so like, this click, just to, like, demonstrate, is exactly down to, is at 4 minutes. Like, this is literally down to the 10,000th of a second. It's accurate. So, wait, hold on. This is 3 after, 2 after, 1 after. This click should be at exactly 240 seconds, but it's not. So it's supposed to be at 14,401 because 4 minutes is 480 seconds times 60 is 14,400, but then off by 1 because it starts at 1. So this is where 4 minutes should be. So I'm going to write 4 minutes here. It's at 14,401, but it actually plays at 14,381. So let's do some math. So it's 14,381 divided by 14,401. This is the ratio it's off by. But actually, no, off by 1 error. Not that that makes much of a difference. But anyway, so we're off by... It's about, like, this percentage off. About 1.38% off the normal. So now to, like, adjust, we just got to make the frame rate of the audio slightly less. So we're going to multiply this by 60. Yeah, 59.92. So if I go into here and then I set the frame rate to 59.92, then, oh, well, okay, this stays at the wrong frame, but then this is at 14,381. So it's like I would have to move this here, but you can see it says 240 seconds right here, and that is correct now. Like it does line up, so yay. So that means I guess you have to multiply by this ratio for every frame rate, and the ratio, by the way, is 0.9986. 19. Yeah, this is it. 0.9986. That's the number. One take. If you have one takeaway from this video, remember 9986. You're gonna want to multiply your frame rate by that. But I don't know if this is consistent. Like I don't know if it changes if you have different audio formats or different like sample rates, which is the frustrating part. But like so like if your video is at 24 frames per second, like a lot of BFDI is, you would multiply 24 by 9986 and then animate at 2396 or 2397. See, the thing is, like, I don't know if you can enter this many sig figs, but that is important because if you don't have all the sig figs, it does start to drift out of sync. So 2396 is what I would animate, or 2397. And then like you also like take into account how long your animation actually is, because if your animation is 30 seconds, you don't need to worry about this at all because the desync is like not enough to be significant. It's like less than 1 frame. But if it's like 2 minutes, you just have to like decrease the error by about 4 times to make it less than a frame. If your animation is like 10 minutes, you have to decrease the error about 20 times to like stay in the range. Like this is just important to keep in mind because you don't want to be trying to fix a problem that isn't significant enough to matter. But yeah, I am working on the time travel video 4. Like I guess I made that kind of obvious just by leaking it by mistake. But what was I gonna say? Like for the time travel video, that's an example that's like extremely, extremely important that it matches exactly, because every time you press J or L, you warp forward by exactly 10 seconds. Like this
for years,
clock
but
in the corner,
you
like
look...
it has to line up because yeah. So like this is a video in particular where it matters extra. Like in most animations, if the audio and visual desync, it's kind of less pleasant to watch and a little bit like getting on your nerves, but like it doesn't ruin the whole video. Desync would ruin this video, right?
And one last lesson. Press J every time you see this red dot hit the wall. Repeat that until you reach the beginning. Ready? Go. Never gonna be give J. You up. Press. Never gonna let you go down. Never. I'm gonna run around. And dessert. You want
Like,
to learn how to...
You notice that sometimes I would have to press J a split second before the red dot hits the wall. And I think that's because of the desync. I mean, you could argue that like, oh, if it's only 10 seconds jump at a time, that's only like 0.05 seconds or something based on the ratio. But like the point is I shouldn't have to worry about this at all. Like Adobe is a multi-billion-dollar company. They should be able to fix a small issue like this. And you know, I should have it be the case that if I put 231.6, it is exactly at 231.6 in the video. Like, I think, oh yeah, like look at this. The YouTube header changes to 232 while the video frame still says 231.9. Because I remember I tried to adjust for this desync while editing this video itself, but you can never get it exact. And like, because there's like floating point numbers, there's like fractional frames, but you can't have a fractional frame. So like weird stuff like that. So you end up with like stuff like this, which for most videos doesn't matter, but for this video, it like absolutely matters. So it's like 2 frames off. Like this is where it changes, and then 1, 2, and this is when the video actually changes. And then the 2 frames, not a lot, but again, in this video, it actually matters. So I think I've like rambled for long enough. I think you get my drift, if that's what they say. And like, yeah, again, this number, I will learn it to 0.9986. Multiply your frame rates by that before putting it to animate, and you will be a little closer to the truth, not perfectly. But this is a message to Adobe. If anyone working at Adobe is watching this, this is an error that you can super easily fix. Like I still think it has to do with the way that Animate is reading these audio files, and like when it reads each clump, like I know how audio like gets read. Like it comes in clusters. It's like dropping 1 sample per cluster, and each cluster is like about 1,000 samples long. Because like I would just be so happy if that click just showed up exactly at 4 minutes, and I didn't have to worry about all this like math. And I know you can do it. Like, computers are meant to be very clean, precise, no wiggle room machines. Like, they do math. That's why it's a computer. It computes. So like, I think you should be able to do this just fine. And also, add a setting where you can start your frame counts at 0. Maybe that already exists. I haven't like checked, but it starts at 1, and I think that results in like everything being like 61, 121, 601. It's super annoying. Adobe Animate frame start at 1 at 0. Let's see if the answer to that would be no. Okay, yeah, like, why is it so hard to just add a setting for that? It is also important to like let's say you have like something like spinning around, and you want it to like spin, like you put it in a graphic, and then like it spins once a second. The issue is like 1 second after frame 1 is 61. Okay, here's the dream. Okay, I know I'm going off tangent now, but the dream is like, so the starting frame and the ending frame are the same, but we want to do 1 revolution per second. Create classic tween, and then we go to, okay, let me move this down. Rotate clockwise. So it rotates clockwise once per second. See, wee. So that looks fine. It's about 1 rotation per second. But, no, sorry. It would be here. See, if you do it like frame 1 to frame 61, then at exactly frame 31, if you create a frame here, it's exactly upside down, right? And if you create a frame at like 15 plus 1, which is, a quarter way in, it's exactly 90 degrees. Like, this is the correct way to do it. You jump out back to the main timeline. This graphic is only going to repeat every 61 frames. So like it reaches its like upright state in 60 frames, but then, or 61, and then it duplicates it again for 62. Like, it didn't rotate. See, it rotate, didn't rotate. Rotate. So you'll see like a little blip. Like, watch closely to see if you can see the blip. Okay, you can't see it at this frame because it's too high, but it'll like desync as well by 1 frame out of 60, which is like even worse than everything I've said before. So what's my proposed solution? Well, it's 1, to start your timelines at frame 0. 2, add a setting for when graphics loop. So like you can set this, oh, you can't see this. In the lower right, it says looping. You have either loop it, play from a certain frame, hold on a certain frame, reverse, or reverse loop. There should be one more setting where you don't play the last frame. It's like loop it, but ignore the last frame, because very often the last frame is something in this motion tween, which basically just takes the graphic back to where it started. Whether that's like going in a circle, or like maybe like waving up and down, or just a whole bunch of things where the last frame looks the same as the first. And what I always end up doing when I actually animate myself is I put a keyframe right here at 60, boop keyframe, remove the last frame, but now like it should do 0 rotations per motion tween, because like this last frame is at like 99% rotated. I want to go from 0 rotations to 0.99 rotations, so I have to change this from 1 to 0, and now it will work correctly on the outer level. But the reason why this is actually not that convenient is, let's say I want this lollipop to spin twice as fast. I can't just go in and drag this here, because now like this wouldn't be correct, because this frame is 1/60th from completing a full revolution, but this timeline is assuming it's 1/30th from being at the end. So if you look at it, it'll be like big rotation, little rotation, because this was like, the little rotation is 1/60th off, whereas this is 1/30th off. So what I would have to do is basically do the whole thing over again, copy the original one, change this back to the original rotation of 0, drag it to 31, put a keyframe at 30, remove the frame, and then, wait, that didn't work. Oh no, I have to go here, change the number of rotations to 1 again to get the like normal rotation speed. Keyframe, remove frame, set this to 0. Like, do you see how much hassle that is? That is just a ridiculous amount of hassle for like just all you want to do is just speed up the rotation speed. And now it is correct. This is the correct speed. So imagine if all you had to do to like double the rotation speed was just take this, drag, And then I guess you have to remove frames, but I guess that's like a different debate. Done. You'd be done right here. So yeah, my second request to Adobe, and I know they're not going to do it, is to add a setting to looping graphics, where you loop but skip the last frame, and start frames at 0. Those are my requests. But overall, the point of this video was not that; it was the audio desync, which I think is actually more important because not every animation has something spinning or has the graphics looping, but every animation, well, typically has audio, and every animation that has audio will be fixed if you fix this bug. So like basically 100% of animators will be happy if you fix the audio desync. Yeah. Yeah, but again, I'll just leave you with this number. It's 0.9986. Multiply your frame numbers by this. All right, thank you for watching this rambly video. Can't believe I haven't talked about this because again, I've dealt with this issue since. Well, let me just show you. Like, I know I've been rambling, but I think each time I think of something new to mention. So this animation was my first long form animation. It's 3 minutes long, which is not that long. But I remember while I animated this, when I was 11 years old, I had to split it into 8 30-second chunks because it's 3:55, so it's 4 minutes long. I split it into 8 30-second chunks to avoid this audio desync before my brother helped me edit it all together. And like the fact that an 11-year-old had to figure out a solution, I mean, it's not that much of like a life burden, but it's like this is an issue that an 11-year-old can pinpoint and know the solution for. So come on, Adobe, like it's not that hard of a problem to understand, but it's like super annoying to have to fix it. Yeah, this is like my first long-term animation, and it's kind of crazy to me that like it is watched so much, given that like, you know, at this beginning frame, I barely knew what motion tweens, and I did know what motion tweens were, but like it was just, you know, me kind of learning on the fly. Well, anyway, that's a different story. My point is that I've dealt with this for now 16 years, and it's never been fixed and never been addressed on a large scale. But like for all of those years, a percentage of my editing time for like the thousands of videos I've made has always been trying to drop frames, add frames, realign. And like there's an alternate universe where that never needed to happen because Macromedia Flash from the 2000s just fixed it outright. So please, let's get this fixed. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I know it's been really rambly. I just didn't want to edit it because I want to get it out fast. But yeah, I think LazyKH will have more unscripted videos like this, but maybe I'll hire editors so that it's like easier to watch. But let me know in the comments, other animators, if you've also had to deal with the same problem, and how you deal with it, how you fixed it, and what you hope to see in Adobe Animate as well. But thank you for watching this video. I have been Carrie Huang, and I'll see you later. Bye!